Hello and welcome to a video about Star Wars Battlefront for the Battle of Jakku map. Or is it, maybe it's Jakku?
Jakku? Yeah, I'm not too sure really.
I've heard different pronunciations. I think some of it depends on where you're from. So Battle of Jakku is what I'm going with, because that feels like the most obvious British pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's probably wrong. And as you've heard, I'm Stefan, and I'm joined by Jim today.
Hello.
And we've both been playing this map a little bit. We did a bit of streaming, and now we're going to actually talk about what we think. So this is available as of Tuesday, 1st of December, for those who pre-ordered the game. You would have got like an early access pass code type thing, but it is completely free. It's for everybody else on the 8th of December, which is next week, next Tuesday, and it's completely separate from the season pass and all of that. And so it's free, it's 2 maps, it's 1 new game mode, and it's actually pretty good. So the big showstopper, showpiece map, that's Graveyard of Giants.
Yep, that's the one.
And it's pretty cool. I love the way that it looks.
Yeah, basically they've just crashed a massive Star Destroyer into the middle of a desert, and you're sort of sprawling over the debris of like a dozen or so TIE fighters and X-Wings, and just trying to find like strategic hold points from there, really.
Yeah, it's just got this wonderful visual style of just like everything has gone to hell.
Yeah,
hasn't it? And I don't think you don't get to see the Star Destroyer actually crashing into the planet, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But they had that in the teaser, and it's just such a cool effect. You've got the huge towering like engines from it, and you just get that sense of sheer scale out of it.
Yeah, and the fire effects do actually look quite good in the Frostbite engine.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you're the rebels, you're always pushing towards that Star Destroyer, and if you're one of the Imperials, every time you turn back to go back to your next strategic point, you're always looking at the big Star Destroyer, and the engines are still flaring up. Yeah,
because I'm not 100% sure of the timeline. I know that it's set about a year after the Battle of Endor, and it's 29 years before the Force Awakens, and Jakku is going to be part of that film and that story. You're going to visit that planet. I think you've actually seen the female lead character. She's sort of like raiding a Star Destroyer. She's like scavenging for parts in one point of.
Yeah, isn't that the clip where she's with the little BB droid?
Yeah, something like that. And I think it might actually be this particular Star Destroyer that she's going into, or something along those lines.
And I think there's a clip from the trailer as well where you have. It must be the Millennium Falcon going down sort of like a desert chasm where there's just loads of wreckage as well. I think that's one of the scenes from the trailer.
I think that sort of makes sense in my head. So it's pretty cool to see like that being set up and made by us fighting through it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And like the story behind Turning Point, which is the new game mode, is that the Imperials, the Star Destroyers crashed, and they're sort of setting up like an impromptu base here, but the rebels have found it and they're trying to destroy it, and so it's basically attack and defense, which is what Battlefront is what DICE know how to do. They know how to do attack and defense.
Yeah.
So the game mode's interesting. It's kind of a bit like Rush. It's kind of a bit like Control Point. It's a bit like Walker Assault. It's just little bits of everything.
Pretty much, yeah, but it's more of a straightforward sort of structure to it, I thought. That will feel quite familiar to Battlefield fans like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the confusion over what to do in Walker Assault with like shooting the walkers at particular times. You don't have that.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward in that the rebels are just pushing forward to capture control points.
And there's none of that tug of war that you have in Supremacy, so there's no chance of the battle building momentum at one side and then slingshotting in the opposite direction if the other team somehow get lucky.
No, there's definitely that as well. I think the nice twist about it is that like you start off the first set of objectives, you've got 3 control points to try and capture, but you only need to capture 1 of them in order to get to the next wave. And
also that capture progress is cumulative, so it doesn't matter if you sort of peel off the base and then sort of strategically reform, you can come back and start your progress from where you left it.
Yeah, so it adds up, so you don't lose any progress if everybody dies, but it does tick up quicker. You do get to capture it quicker if you get more people in there. But yeah, it's an interesting balance how you've got 3 control points to start off with, then 2 sets of 2, and then finally there's just that one control point, that one single focus.
It's chaos.
It is absolute chaos. But I think that's a very clever way of doing it, so that it's not... Because with Battlefield 4 Rush, it was always the 2 XCOM stations. You always had to get in there, plant the bomb, hold it.
Right, yeah.
And so it was always the same number of objectives, and they were always like very similar distances and stuff like that. Whereas here, it starts off easier for the rebels, and then it gets easier for the Imperials to hold the control points. I think that's very, very clever.
Yeah, that last control point it's sort of like a sort of flattened area where the Imperials already have like a couple of preset turrets knocking about, and obviously if you get the small little power-ups, you can keep setting up more and more turrets. Even the blaster cannons as well, they're pretty effective. But it forces the rebels to think differently. They can't just all run together at the same one. They actually have to work on the flank attacks. So
moving on to Goes and Badlands, what do you think of this map? Because this is for all of the smaller game modes, so Blast, Drop Zone.
It's a good map. Obviously, it's like sometimes you will play a multiplayer map in one of these games, and you will think, oh, this is amazing. It's quite middle of the road, but I still enjoyed it. Basically, you have 3 lanes. 2 of them are sort of like, one's an exterior path, one runs into a cave, and then the central path going down the middle is sort of a mixture of both. You have sort of like rocky outcrops hanging overhead, and then there's I think it's a busted up 80-80, I want to say, just crumpled in the middle.
Yes, no, there is. Yeah, it's sort of like it's just having a bit of it got a bit tired, and so it's just having a bit of a rest against the side of the rocks. I think it's a pretty conventional setup, especially for something back and forth. We played what did we play? Cargo on it, and so you've got the 2 ends, and it just makes sense. I think there's 1 or 2 maps of the smaller maps which are just a bit too confusing in the layout. For that, there's one on Hoth where it's like all caves, and I have never got a clue where I'm going.
Oh, that one, yeah. Is that the one where you sort of walk out into the open and people will be standing on top of like a giant cliff and shooting down?
Something like that.
I think I know which one. Yeah. It's a lot more straightforward than those ones. Definitely.
So it's decent. It's another map. It's another map to add to the. There's a couple more smaller maps. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them now, and that's good. Cool. Well, that is a pretty good place to wrap it up. As I said, Battle of Jakku, if you've pre-ordered the game, then you can get it now, and next week on the 8th of December it is available for everybody. So
there we go.
If you've got the game, check it out. You might as well. You've got nothing to lose in downloading the DLC and playing it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching. As usual, do the whole like and subscribe thing. And I've been Stefan, and this has been Jim. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.